Welcome to the Savvy Dentist podcast with Dr. Jesse Green, the show where great dentistry meets great business. Listen in each week as we bring you an inspiring person who will share their story, ideas and business techniques to help you create a practice and a life you love. And now introducing your host, Dr. Jesse Green.
Hello everyone, it's Jesse Green and welcome back to SavvyDentist.com and to the Savvy Dentist podcast, the show where great dentistry meets great business. My guest today is someone who's been on the show a few times, Dr. Tyson Franklin. And Tyson is a friend of mine and every time we talk, I feel better for the exchange. And today we're talking all about marketing in uncertain times. Clearly, we're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic and we need to make sure that whatever marketing we do is effective but very sensitive to the marketplace as well. And our conversation today is about effective marketing that is sensitive in the current environment. We're talking about leaning into the patients rather than pulling out of our marketing altogether, and how to make sure that we nurture our patient base, how we can effectively communicate with them so that when we do open up the doors for practice again, that those patients will come back to us. It's a wide-ranging interview, and Tyson, as always, shares some wonderful wisdom that I know is super practical, and I know you're going to be able to implement very easily into your business if you just follow what we talk about. Now, before we do get to that conversation with Tyson, I want to share with you a special announcement. Obviously, we're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, and what I'm noticing in the marketplace is stress, anxiety, misinformation, sometimes a bit of hysteria. And what that means for dental practice owners is it can be hard to know what decisions to make right now to navigate through this coronavirus scenario and come out the other side safely and strongly. Now, I've been a dentist now for 25 years and I've built businesses through a variety of crises, whether it's the GFC, whether it's the September 11 crisis, whether it's the dot-com boom and bust, and of course now the coronavirus situation. And what I can tell you is although these crises are different, what is common amongst them is the anxiety, the stress, the misinformation, and sometimes the hysteria as well. So I want to launch today the COVID Care Pack for dental practice owners, and it's 100% free. And what we're going to be including in this care pack is access to interviews with our trusted advisors, whether that's employment lawyers, accountants, how to understand your employment law obligations, how to understand what the stimulus packages mean for you. And in addition to that, we're going to be adding some of our resources to that care pack as well to help you navigate through this situation and set up a platform for growth on the other side. And as I said, it's 100% free. There's no cost at all. We're making it available throughout the pandemic. And all you need to do to access it is head across to SavvyDentistAcademy.com/SDA free to sign up for a free account. And you'll have access to the things that you want and need there. So once again, it's free. And all you've got to do is head across to SavvyDentistAcademy.com/SDA free to access those interviews and resources and the things you'll need to come through this COVID situation safely and easily and get ready for the growth on the other side. So I hope that resource is really helpful for you. And I really believe that if we can work together as a community, as a profession, we'll all come through this better and stronger than if we try to go it alone. So that resource is there. I'd encourage you to head across and grab it. But right now, we're going to head across to Dr. Tyson Franklin, and we're going to talk about marketing in uncertain times. So I do hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I enjoyed recording it. Here's Tyson. Dr. Tyson Franklin, welcome back to the Savvy Dentist podcast, mate. It's an absolute treat and pleasure to have you back once again. How are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. I am definitely a repeat offender now. We're trying to work out if this is the fourth or fifth time I've been. I think it's the fourth time.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go back and count. I was thinking it was the fifth, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Yeah, it's up there, mate, but you are certainly the guest I've had on most on this show. So thank you once again for coming back.
No, it's good. And what I enjoy about coming on this particular show is I can relate to the people that listen to it. Like, we've been friends for a while now. My brother's a dentist. I've got a lot of dental friends. So when we're talking about business or marketing, podiatry and dentistry, very, very similar, even though we're at other ends of the body.
Well, that's the irony, is that we're so far apart anatomically. And our first episode was foot and mouth, I think, which we thought was pretty amusing at the time.
The foot and mouth episode.
And But yeah, the similarities between the practice of podiatry and the practice of dentistry, they're uncanny. And even though the actual, anatomical parts are different, the things are the same. So let's get into it, mate, because
Yes.
you've got a lot of experience in marketing. You've got a lot of experience in practice ownership. You've got experience in coaching and, as you know, working with dentists as well. So I want to talk to you today about marketing in uncertain times, because at the moment, as you're well aware, dental practices are in some form of restriction in terms of what they can provide clinically, and therefore the revenue's taken a bit of a hit. And so for most people, that means they're not marketing at all. I'm wondering, do you think, is that a good idea or a bad idea?
I think anytime you stop marketing, regardless of what's happening, whether it's been the GFC years ago, which I decided not to participate in.
Good.
And that's what I usually say to people. But what's happening now with COVID-19 and totally out of our control, what is happening, and it scares people.
Yeah.
The people always need that little bit of certainty and uncertainty. There's like a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Uncertainty keeps life exciting.
Yep.
Certainty can sometimes get a bit boring. At the moment, we have a lot of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely no boredom, but it does create a lot of fear.
Mm.
And with that, people tend to make rash decisions on things. And one of the decisions they make is, I should just stop marketing. And I don't think there's a time when you should stop all marketing. It's just you change the way that you market. You just adapt it a little bit more. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
That makes perfect sense to me because, as you said, in times of uncertainty, there's that great expression that when emotions are high, intelligence is low. And we tend to make knee-jerk decisions, when we're feeling anxious or stressed or fearful or whatever. And it feels like we've got to respond super quickly. And I think for anyone listening, my thought process is to keep a clear head, keep your feet on the ground, and make considered decisions about what you do rather than knee-jerk reactions. And when that comes to marketing, I do think that marketing should continue, but I also think it needs to adapt and change and be sensitive that you're marketing to. So let's talk a little bit about, I guess, marketing in general, and then I want to ask you a little bit about marketing in the COVID times. From your perspective, Tyson, where do health practitioners, and we're talking to dentists here, but it's probably relevant to health practitioners in general, where do health practitioners go wrong with their marketing?
I think there's two parts to it. I think the first part is when they're quiet, they market the practice, and when they're busy, they stop marketing.
Yeah.
And there's this concept they used to call helicopter marketing. And if you've ever seen a helicopter fly, they reckon it burns up so much fuel just to get itself off the ground. But once it's coasting along, it actually, when it's cruising, it doesn't burn up as much fuel. So it burns up every time it lands and it takes off, it burns up a lot of fuel. Your marketing and the momentum of your business works exactly the same way. It's quiet. So you do all this marketing and things pick up and it's going fantastic. You go, oh, this is great. And you stop. What you're pretty much doing is landing the helicopter. And then by the time you realize, it's quiet again, we need to start marketing, you've got to spend so much more just to get the momentum up. And they're constantly just going up and down, up and down, up and down. So I reckon that's one of the biggest mistakes they make is not coming up with a consistent weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly marketing strategy. They focus too much on, the guy down the road is doing this. Well, if that's working for him, it must work for me. So I'm going to copy and do exactly the same thing. And they don't realize it might be working for him based on his business or his practice, the way that it's set up doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So I reckon that's the other mistake is they watch what other people are doing and they think, well, if it works for them, I'll just copy it. But sometimes if you just copy what everybody else is saying and they've been saying it for a long period of time, all you're doing is promoting them.
Yeah.
Example I give when I do my workshops is I will say to people, who owns the breakfast market? Yeah, the fast food breakfast market.
Fast food breakfast market? Probably Macca's, I would have thought.
Yeah, you want a sausage and egg McMuffin, you're going to Macca's.
Yeah.
They've been promoting the sausage and egg McMuffin. They've been promoting the breakfast since I was at university.
Wow, that's a long time.
That was a long time.
That's
That's 30 years ago.
Only 30?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Anyway, so they've been promoting that thing that they own the breakfast market.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen Subway, KFC, I've seen every other fast food place try and dig into that market. And I'll be sitting at home here and all of a sudden Hungry Jacks will go, we now have, the sausage and egg burger.
Yeah.
Breakfast burger.
Yep.
With a hash brown. And you go, oh, you actually what? I'm in a hurry tomorrow morning. I might stop and get breakfast. I stop at McDonald's.
Yeah, not Hungry's.
Yeah, because there's more McDonald's around. It's more convenient. And I've ingrained on that's where I get my breakfast in the morning if I wanted fast food. So people that just follow what everybody else is doing and they go, oh, it's been working for them for so long, I'm going to copy them. A lot of the times all you're doing is them promoting what they've already done.
Yeah, so if you were Hungry Jack's in that and you wanted to get into the breakfast market, so this question without notice, how would you approach that if you were Hungry Jack's? Would you just abandon the breakfast market or would you attack it slightly differently?
I wouldn't go in it.
Yeah.
I just probably wouldn't worry about it. Like when you're thinking of a practice, for example, and you've seen that like Venn diagram,
yep.
Where it goes, what are you good at? What are your competition good at? And there's like these competing areas. And I think if your competition owns an area that they are really good at, and the market already knows they're really good at that, unless you can create something completely different and get that message across, then sometimes let them have that market, maybe focus on something else. Because Hungry Jack's, for example, like I actually prefer Hungry Jack's burgers over McDonald's because
every day
they got the flame grilled.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, McDonald's might flame grill. I've never paid that much attention. But you remember when the beer commercials came out and they were saying, such and such beer, it's chill filtered. You go, ooh, chill filtered. All beers were chill filtered back then or something.
Yeah.
Majority of beers were chill filtered.
I know, but they owned it, right? They occupied that piece of real estate in people's minds.
Yeah. That all of a sudden they made, and I remember there were a few commercials around. I'll give a couple of examples. One was a car company and they say, we have 110 safety point features on this car. You're right. 109 of them were probably needed them by law. So the one extra thing they added in may not have really been overly important. But I remember Mercedes-Benz had a TV commercial on, and this Mercedes-Benz was going down this mountain in, I think it was South Africa. My South African friends will normally tell me which mountain it is.
Yeah.
And anyway, you see this car all crumbled up and there's this family standing in front of it. So, this is the Smith family. Their car came off the road on this mountain. Mercedes-Benz is that safe. The family walked away from that accident.
Wow.
Went, wow. Okay. Then not long after that, there was a BMW ad. You see this car coming down this mountain, vroom, vroom, then vroom, goes off into the distance. They said, BMW, we were made to stay on the road.
Love it.
So to me, that is taking what somebody else has done and twisting it and making it your own.
Yeah.
And there's always that example of, the two businesses, and you've got the business in town who does, $20 haircuts. Yeah. And then a guy opens up across the road, $6 haircuts. And how do you compete against them? You put a sign up, we fix $6 haircuts.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So it's looking at things differently. And I think the other part where people make a mistake with their marketing is they usually don't have enough staff.
Okay.
They're understaffed. So
the customer experience suffers?
Yeah. So they do marketing, but they haven't got the systems, processes, and people in place to make sure that these new patients that are coming into the clinic are actually being looked after properly.
Yeah. So it's one thing to stimulate demand, but it's another one to be able to look after the people that come through that. And what I'm hearing you say is if you do have an effective marketing campaign and you stimulate demand, but you don't have the back end sorted out, then you're effectively shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah,
it's like hearing, there's a restaurant that has the best food, but then you go in and you're waiting 2.5 hours to get your meal.
Yeah.
I don't care how good the food is. If I sit down at 7 o'clock, I don't want to be fed at 9:30. Or if there could be a great meal, but if the staff are rude to me or they make mistakes on my credit card and they double charge me accidentally, all those negative, it's all about it's about the patient experience.
Absolutely. And those little things add up, those little errors, those little glitches. And people will forgive a mistake. We spoke about that in
happens,
the recovery paradox, right? We spoke about that. But at the same time, if you can minimize those things, then you're away. All right. So they're the big mistakes that people make with marketing. Yeah, the helicopter marketing, kind of turning it on, off, then kind of going on that roller coaster ride and burning up a lot of cash. Obviously, that's going to affect your return on investment over the long haul because you're constantly launching. And then, of course, it's making sure that when you're in the second point is making sure that you don't have enough staff, all those sorts of things. Make sure your systems and processes and everything's there, ready to go. And we spoke about Hungry Jack's and Macca's. Now, I want to share a little story with you, mate, because it's Friday today, which is podcast day, right? And I want to talk to you a little bit about the breakfast market at Hungry Jack's.
Okay.
It's really interesting. I was talking to someone about an hour ago, and ladies and gents, I'm just going to let you in a little secret. Sometimes I record podcasts on a day. I don't always release them in the order that I record them. So I'm hoping that podcast comes out before this one.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that. And I'll go, yeah. And when I was talking to Emily this morning, and then I'll go, hang on. Yeah, this has come out. Yeah, no, it's totally wrong. And then I go back and I edit it out because it just doesn't make any sense. So if this is still stuck in here, if this is still in the recording, then we're on track.
We're all good. Or tune in next week and you'll get to hear about it. Anyway, we're talking about ladder. We're talking about brands and ladders, and in a category, there is a top of the ladder position that people are trying to battle for. And we're talking about soft drink, and she mentioned Coca-Cola as being top of the ladder in terms of the soft drink category, which they are, right? And she was saying that Pepsi has deliberately positioned itself as number 2. And we were talking about that, and I said, I just want to come back and ask you that question because, do you think that's a deliberate strategy? And again, it's coming back to the Maccas and the Hungry Jacks example, is that Coca-Cola had such a market advantage that rather than trying to keep going head-to-head with Coca-Cola, Pepsi said, you know what, they've got number 1. They're always going to be number 1. I'm going to make sure I'm the best of the rest, basically. And do you think that from a breakfast point of view with fast food chains, that would be the appropriate strategy for Hungry Jacks, and if that's the case?
I think so. I think as long as if they know they can't own that market because McDonald's own it, then if you're going to do breakfast, do it better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So I might have McDonald's, 9 out of 10 times. I'm going to McDonald's. And then all of a sudden I'm, say, traveling and the first place I come past is a Hungry Jack's. Okay, I will stop. If they can make sure that their burger is better, which is part of their slogan.
The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's, mate.
Burgers are better at Hungry Jack's. If I have a breakfast burger there and I go, my God, this is actually so much better than what McDonald's make, the next time I want to do it, I'm going to go, oh, do I go for habit and convenience, or do I drive the extra 5 minutes and get a burger that I know is going to taste better? So I think it's important if you're going to be second, is just be that good at second that even when people are so used to going to the first place, they go, you know what, I might try second because it is better. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a really good idea.
So I think it's all about quality. If you're second, you have to really make sure your quality is probably better than first.
Yeah.
Until people's buying habits change.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so just to move on from there, mate, we are talking about marketing, and we always talk about the market, the message, the medium, the 3 M's of marketing. And we've spoken on previous conversations about one of the most common mistakes people make with their marketing is not really clearly defining their avatar, knowing who their market is, and then therefore trying to be all things to all people. The second part, though, the message is going to be key. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the message part just for a moment, because obviously we are recording this during the coronavirus period. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think the message to your market would change? Assuming we're going to continue marketing, do we continue advertising, or is it just more content marketing? Where do you see the differentiation, and what's the messaging going to be like?
I think we're going to change it more to care marketing.
Yeah, me too.
So it's not about, hey, we do implants, you should get some, because they can't get them.
Yeah.
At the moment, they don't want to be leaving their house.
Too right.
And doing anything. So to try and market, hey, do you want to have a better smile? Why? Nobody's going to see it. You're at home with your family.
Yeah.
Or the one friend across the road will see it when the two of you go walking together, because that's the limits.
Yeah.
So to try and market those sort of services at the moment, I think is crazy. But to stay in touch, to me, it's all about internal marketing right now.
Me too.
You've already got your database. Your database is gold. Now you need to let them know that you care about them. And it's all about just letting them know, it's maintaining the communication. So if you're still open at the moment, let them know that you're still open and why you're still open.
Yep.
If you've had to close, let them know you're closed. But I'll give you a perfect example. I've been getting my hair cut from the same place for the last 25 years. Every 4 weeks, last 25 years, like clockwork.
It's obviously
sometimes it's every 3 weeks.
It's obviously working out well for you.
Yeah, it's got less and less. It's gotten cheaper as it's gone on because there's been less hair to cut. And every 3 weeks, if I'm catching up with you, Jesse, because I want to look good. And, but I got an email the other day, last Tuesday night. Dear client, we're closing until further notice. All your appointments are now cancelled.
Oh, no.
That was the email I got.
Oh, no.
And I went, I've been going for 25 years. You were at my wedding. And the lady who started cutting my hair, she owns a business. She's sort of like semi-retired. So I now see one of the other girls for about the last 12 years.
Yeah.
And I was walking with my wife the other day and I said, I'm so angry about that email. All the emails says, we're closed. All your appointments for the rest of the year have been cancelled. We'll be in touch. And I went, okay, thank you. I didn't know how to respond to that. And I'm thinking, I'll guarantee I do not get another message from them until they're ready to actually open their doors again.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is at the time we're recording this, hairdressers are still classed as an essential service.
Yeah.
They don't have to close. And I know they're set up and they could have quite easily spaced people out, but they've chosen to close for whatever reason.
Yeah. Which is fine. That's a choice. But the communication strategy around that was woeful, right?
It was terrible. But what about if I was due for a haircut on Wednesday and I've just gone my 4 weeks, starting to look a bit woolly, and all of a sudden I've gone, okay, I can't get a haircut now. So what do I do? Now, I know hair is not important as teeth and healthcare.
No, but it's the message that's the same.
It's the communication. Yeah. And I will bet I don't hear from them until they're about to open. And by then, it's like, I've probably shaved my head by then.
Yeah, a bit of home clipping and all that sort of stuff. Interesting.
Or found an alternative. You're talking to a friend who says, oh, well, actually, my hairdresser is still open at the moment. This is the communication I'm getting from my hairdresser. And you go, oh, so it's not just a hairdresser, it's my hairdresser.
Yeah.
And you talk about this on your marketing desk. It's all about, is this person, that's my dentist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just a dentist.
Yeah, or the dentist.
The dentist,
yeah, it's my dentist. And that's really key. And my big message around that, of course, is, mate, we've had plenty of conversations around this, but I hate to use retention is key. And I think during this period of restriction, the number one marketing thing is going to be preserve your database. And I kind of liken, Warren Buffett's number one rule of investing is, never lose your capital. Rule number 2 is refer to rule number 1. I reckon the number one rule of marketing should be never lose your customers, right? And rule number 2 should be refer to rule number 1 again. So with that strategy, I really agree with you, mate. I think that's so critical to be communicating, to be, reaching out to your patients, to be, building the relationships and so on, and developing and enhancing those relationships. Interestingly enough, my lovely wife sent out an emailed a letter to our patient base the other day, and it was a nicely worded letter that she'd put together. And what was really nice about that, and this is not yay ass because it had nothing to do with me, it was on my wife.
Yeah.
So, but she got a lot of feedback, emails back from patients saying, wow, we're so glad that you emailed us. Thanks so much for the support you've provided us all these years. We're sorry that, you're not able to operate the way you normally could, but thanks for letting us know that we can call you and keep in contact if we've got any dramas, and we'll certainly be back to see you, blah, 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 right? Now, of course, that's not the only communication that's going to be going out over the next few months, but the feedback from the patients was really lovely, and full credit to the team at the practice for establishing that. But it's a bit different to your appointment's cancelled, we'll talk to you later.
It's completely different. And how you decide to communicate them is really what your process you got set up. Yeah, if you have a monthly newsletter, it might be a fortnightly newsletter and smaller. Just keep maintaining that contact with them. Like I know that every time you go to a dentist, what's this? Yeah, make sure you floss. Make sure you floss.
Yep.
Now you could say they could have a bit of fun with it. Okay.
Some videos.
Hey, even though the coronavirus are all in lockdown, make sure you've got plenty of dental floss. And they could even go, okay, what are some funny things you can do with dental floss around the house? But do some funny videos, just things when they see it, they go, yeah.
We're gonna start a hoarding thing on dental floss if we keep talking like this. Like it won't be toilet paper anymore; it'll be dental floss.
I know it'll be dental floss. All the funny things you can do around the house. Like if you sat down with a group of dentists and you said to them, "Now we should bring this up when we do our Friday drinks thing,"
which we are doing tonight.
Happy hour. We've got a musician coming in and everything.
I know. And
but if we threw that question out, everyone had said, "What are some funny things you could do with dental floss? What else could you do around the house with dental floss?" And even though, look, it sounds silly, but they're the sort of things that people need right now. They need some light-hearted humor, but still professional.
Yeah, I agree.
Second uses for a toothbrush, clean your shoes, cleaning the tiles around the house. Now,
cleaning the stovetop.
Yeah. So what are all the uses of
an old toothbrush?
Of a toothbrush. Coca-Cola, it's bad for your teeth, but it's great for cleaning coins. And then show a demo on how it's good for jewelry too.
Didn't know that.
Good if people got gold teeth. So, but there are all these little things like that, okay, they might be a little bit silly, but it's a great way of just maintaining that contact with your patients. And I think that's how we've got to think now. It's communicate with them, offer some care, offer some advice, and probably a little bit of light humor. And if you're not humorous at all, find a humorous friend who can help you.
Yeah, that's why I hang out with you.
Yeah, or reach out to Jesse.
I'm Captain Funny. That's why I hang out with you, because you're the funny one and I'm the straight guy.
But it's thinking outside the box a little bit. And like straight, we've already shared ideas. Dental floss, toothbrushes, Coca-Cola. I'm sure there's other things that you could do.
Totally. I've got this video in mind. I've got a daughter who, is a gymnast and she can dance very well. I don't know, you've got a daughter that dances well. And yeah, the flossing dance comes to mind. And, I'm sure that there's going to be a video about flossing at home that has a bit of a snippet of my daughter doing the flossing dance before we get to the real flossing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what about TikTok?
Oh, yeah.
You can get on TikTok with some dental floss and go, tick, 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 tick. It could be something, put sound effects to it. It's like knocking at the door as you're doing your teeth. So to me, it's just thinking outside the box. Like I've got the molds when I got my mouth guard made up for kickboxing, as recommended by you, Jesse, that I should wear a mouth guard when I'm doing kickboxing.
Thank you.
And I now use the mold as a paperweight.
Nice. Okay.
And my wife walks in the office and goes, "Oh, you got your teeth there looking at you." I go, "Because it's funny."
Because I like it.
So, yeah, but and going back to your original question, to me, it's all about internal marketing, looking after your database, staying in touch with them. And I think once every 3 months is not enough.
No.
And just sharing advice, show that you care, you're there. So when everything gets back to normal, you're going to be top of mind.
Yeah. Do you remember that concept in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Stephen Covey talked about the relationship bank account, like making deposits into the relationship bank account. And so the way I see this is every piece of communication is a little deposit into the relationship bank account. And one of the things that we know from a retention point of view is that people will like to do business with those they know, like, and trust. Now, if you're making these deposits by sending out the communication pieces that Tyson has articulated, then those little deposits strengthen the know, like, and trust thing so that if other people are out there advertising, marketing, and so on, then your patients aren't going to be susceptible to that marketing message so much. They're going to be thinking, no, hang on, my dentist, coming back to that, my dentist is, Dr. Blogs down the road. I don't need to look at this other stuff because I go to my dentist. So my big message for everyone like yours, mate, would be to communicate often and to communicate in a way that's, as you said, caring, professional, but with a bit of fun.
Do you recommend, I'm a big fan of electronic newsletters.
Yeah.
Because they're cheap and they're easy to put together. And if you've never done one before, now is a perfect time to just go and jump on like Campaign Monitor or MailChimp and just have a play around with it. It's like intuitive learning. Push all the buttons, see how it looks.
Yep.
And I was talking to someone the other day about this, and what I said to him is, you might go, "Oh, well, but I send out these electronic newsletters and only 15% are opened or 20%.
Yep.
And you go, "Well, that's great. If the other 80% are not unsubscribing,
you're okay.
Every fortnight or every month, whenever you send it out, they're seeing your business name in their inbox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're deleting it. They're not opening up, but it's still a reminder that you're there.
Yeah.
And I give an example where Barbecues Galore used to send me an electronic newsletter every month without fail, and probably 11 out of 12 months I wouldn't open it.
Yeah.
But that one month I did open it, I'd read through it and go, "Oh, I should drop in." And I would. So it's just that reminder. But anyway, they stopped that about 18 months ago. I haven't got one for a while.
No, that's weird. What's really interesting around that as well, mate, is physical newsletters. I know you and I have had quite a few conversations. I still like physical newsletters.
Yeah, so do I.
They're more time consuming
to put together, more expensive, but they still work.
Yeah, and at this particular point in time, people might not want to spend the money on that, right?
Yeah.
Because of the postage and yada, yada, yada. But once we come out of the coronavirus, I do think that there is a place for ramping that up and putting it into a marketing mix as well, because inboxes are pretty chockers, whereas mailboxes, not so much.
I love getting mail.
Oh, mate, me too. Except for
and
the
as
bills.
long as the newsletter you send out is not just, I remember getting this one newsletter from a chiropractor that I used to see, and I used to keep them just so I could show examples of the worst newsletters I'd ever seen in my life. And it was about the new house they just bought, their new BMW. And I'm just going, photos from their last overseas trip.
Oh, no.
And I'm thinking put your overseas trip in if you just went to Indonesia and helped build a new orphanage. That is fantastic.
Yeah. But no, not your 5-star tour to Paris and Italy, or maybe not Italy at the moment, but wherever. Yeah.
But I do think if you look at, I use the example of the orthotic economy. When you're thinking about doing something in podiatry, if an orthotic, for example, costs $500 and you want to do something, how many orthotics is that really costing you? So if somebody wanted to do a really, really good newsletter campaign, to a decent number of patients, it might cost $2,000, $2,500.
Yeah, maybe.
How many crowns?
Oh, one and a bit, two.
One and a bit. Say 2 crowns. So you could send a really good campaign that you put a bit of thought into, mail it out to probably a couple of thousand people. And if only 3% responded and spent $1,500 in your dental surgery,
you're away, mate.
Well, you'd be killing it.
You'd be totally killing it. Yeah.
What happens is people look at, it's going to cost $2,500 or $3,000 to send out this newsletter, but they don't realize, yes, but it could be worth $50,000 to you.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's not one newsletter. It's coming back to your barbecues galore thing, right? It's they sent you one every month.
Doing it on a regular basis.
Doing it on a regular basis. And it's like, I ignored 11, but on the 12th one, I went and bought something.
But people will not ignore a paper one.
No.
You send, the amount of times I used to hang out for the Victoria's Secret catalogue.
I don't think you've quite got the legs for that, but just, but no, that's okay. If you like that, that's up to you.
No, but I remember a couple of years ago, that used to be a popular thing that was posted out on a regular basis. And you would see it at people's places because it was a fairly big sort of catalogue. But I know when I get a quality newsletter sent to me, I will read it from front to back because I don't get them. But when I get electronic ones, I'll have a quick skim and get rid of it.
Yeah, it's almost a bit junk mail, some of the electronic ones. All right, mate. So let's think about this for a moment. If you were a dentist, the number one thing we've got to do right now is to communicate with our existing patients, focus on the internal marketing. As part of that, which I haven't touched on yet, one of the things we did learn from our letter, I should have pointed out, was we had some incorrect data fields. We had commas instead of dots in email addresses and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's a good opportunity to check your database and the accuracy of the data. But beyond that sort of stuff, what else do you think dentists should be thinking about from a marketing perspective now? What about, should they be thinking about getting a reactivation campaign going, or should they be thinking about what ads they might launch when things come back to normal? Where do you think people should start putting their energy and thoughts beyond the things we spoke about?
I think it's, if you just sit back now and go, woe is me, be like Eeyore, from Winnie the Pooh, the sky is falling. And going, there's nothing I can do about it. Maybe in 3 months we'll be open. And then the doors open in 3 months and you open up the doors and you go, and no one's here. I knew they wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I know. But there's a lot of people
are like that.
People are like that. And I keep saying, no. There's so much you can do. Let's get on with it.
No, whereas you sit back now and you go, right now is the best opportunity for any business owner to really sit down and have the time to think about where they'd really, really like to take the practice in the next year, 2 years, 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you're never going to get as good opportunity as what you're going to get right now to be able to just sit down, read books, listen to podcasts, watch stuff on YouTube, take in all this information from different places and go, how can I apply this to my dental practice? So when we open our doors, we go bang.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I think the things are important. Your internal processes are really important. Your recall system, reactivation, incomplete treatment.
Yep.
If you haven't got them nailed, then they're the first 3 things you probably need to be working on.
Absolutely right. Bingo. I agree 100%. Mate, God, you make me laugh. I love talking to you. We could do this all day.
Oh, man, an 8-hour podcast. I wonder how that'd go. Make Joe Rogan like a, what, we've been beaten? Because he goes for about 3.5 hours.
Does he go for 3.5 hours?
He goes for 3.5 hours every day.
I don't think I could do that. I just don't think I've got the energy to listen to that.
Oh, no, I can only listen to him for about an hour, and then I've gotten out of the car.
Do you reckon we should do like a 4-hour one and just send it to him and go, gotcha?
Yeah, you got nothing on us. And he'll probably say, yeah, do it 5 days a week, 52 weeks.
Yeah, which would be a fair comment too.
But the thing is, his show is almost like 3 shows in one.
Yeah.
It gives different guests. They talk about different topics.
Yeah. It's a lot of interviewing.
Yeah, we'll stick under 60.
I think we will. Mate, as always, you're a trooper, you're a champion, and I love the way you think. I love the way you think about marketing. I love the way you talk about marketing. I love your enthusiasm, your passion, not just for marketing, but for life, mate. And I just really want to pick up on Tyson's last point because I think it's super important. How you come out of this coronavirus situation is going to be directly related to your mindset. It's going to be directly related to how upbeat and positive you remain. It's going to be understanding there's a bunch of things that you can do. And rather than wallowing in the negativity of it all and being Eeyore, as Tyson says, I think it's super, super, super important to just understand that be, do, have model. And that is, if I be positive in my thoughts and my speech, if I take action positively, then I will achieve positive outcomes. And my big message to everyone is that if you want to experience positivity in your external world, you've got to first exhibit that in your internal world. And I don't know, mate, do you have any thoughts around that?
I just think the earlier people accept that what is happening right now is happening.
Yeah.
It's just accept it. Accept everything that's gone on, whether your business is still open at the moment or whether it's closed. Just accept that it's bad right now. It may get a little bit worse. And this is going to drag out probably longer than what everybody expected. Just accept it. Don't complain about it. Just accept it. Okay, now what can I do to make things better? And I think anybody that is a business owner, if you're a boss, if you're a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, or a parent, just get really good at it.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity to be the best parent in the world, to be the best boss in the world, to be the best partner. It's just a great time to grow within yourself, learn new skills, just be better.
Yeah, I love that. Well, in the spirit of that, mate, you're a great buddy, you're a great friend, and I appreciate all that you do, not just for me as a mate, but for all the knowledge, the wisdom you've shared, not just on this podcast, but the 3 or 4 previous ones, however many they are, because I can't.
I think it was 3.
You reckon it's 3? I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to do a count back, mate. I reckon I think you're probably right. I think it was 3 before. But anyway, I'm sure there'll be more to come, mate, because I love
you know where you're confused?
Where?
I've been a guest 3 times, but I hosted you I was your host on episode 200.
That's what it was.
So, yes, I hope this is the 5th time I've been on, 4 times as a guest, but once you were the guest and I was the host. And you did the same thing on my podcast.
I know. Okay, that's where I was getting befuddled. So,
yes.
Alrighty. Well, I'm looking forward to having another round of this, mate, because it's always good fun talking to you. And I always walk away from the conversation learning something, having my thoughts stretched and challenged in a really good way. And, mate, thank you. As always, you've been incredibly generous, incredibly helpful. And all of us here at the Savvy Dentist, mate, we salute you as always. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the happy hour tonight.
Oh, thank you very much, Jesse. Yes, I will be there. Hawaiian shirt and everything. I'm prepared. Might even make a couple of cocktails before I come on. Might have a few before I come on, which will make it even more entertaining.
Yeah. Well, you're the MC, buddy, so I can't wait. It's going to be good.
I know. And thanks for having me on again. I love coming on here. You know, I like talking about marketing. Yeah, you and I have been friends now for a couple of years.
Yep.
And every time we have a conversation together, I always walk away feeling better, which is great, which is what you want. And this is the perfect opportunity right now where we actually get to really choose who we hang around with too.
Yes. Yes.
We're not forced to hang around people we don't want to hang around because we go, self-isolation.
Yeah. It's an introvert's dream.
Yeah, but I think even someone who's an extrovert, you can get on video, you can talk to people, you can ring people
Totally.
up. And so right now you get to choose who you really, really want to hang around with. And you can exclude the rest.
Yeah.
So no reason to be negative. Unless you're negative, then enjoy that.
Yeah. Or maybe.
Or change it.
Change it. All right, mate. You're a champ. Love your work.
No, thank you.
You're a good dude. And I'll see you tonight for the happy hour.
Okay. See you, Jesse.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you for listening to the Savvy Dentist podcast with Dr. Jesse Green. For more free tools and resources, join the free Facebook group. Visit drjessegreen.com/Facebook. And for more episodes, visit drjessegreen.com/savvydentist.